Welcome to Sara Gonzales Unfiltered. I am really excited about today. We've got, the news sucks, and we just decided let's just do a fun show today. And we're going to do a fun show with two of my favorite gentlemen ever. We've got BlazeTV contributors, both Matthew Marsden, along with Jaco Booyens. And I'm just saying, just get ready to let's just have some fun, okay? Oh, by the way,
I saw that.
SaraMerch.com. You too can have this coffee cup, straw not included. Okay? I'm voting for the convicted felon, coffee mugs, t-shirts, and for those of you who are listening on audio podcasts, it's got this cute little caricature of the Donald Trump hair and then these American flag aviator sunglasses. So make sure to go to SaraMerch.com. You can save 10% using code SARA10. So we'll get the news stuff out of the way first, okay? So, of course, there is a CNN presidential debate next week. Oh, God, can't believe it's next week.
Yeah, wow. But it's also about time. We got to get this show on the road.
I know. But so this presidential debate is coming up. I believe it's Thursday. And CNN said today that Robert F. Kennedy Jr. did not qualify for the first presidential debate. Now, the qualification was that candidates have to hit at least 15% in 4 national polls that meet CNN's standards, which you love that. You love that, right? You love that little caveat. It's not just 15% in 4 national polls. It's 15% in 4 national polls that meet our standards, our high quality standards here at CNN, where we always tell the truth and achieve ballot access in enough states to have a chance at winning 270 electoral votes. Now, fun fact, the last independent candidate to make the presidential debate stage was Ross Perot in 1992. So it's been a while. And on Saturday, CNN said that RFK was on the ballot in states totaling 89 electoral votes and had hit the polling requirement in only 3 polls. So he did not make the cut. RFK is a fascinating one. And I want to kind of continue to talk about the debate and the debate rules. But it's a fascinating one because I don't agree with RFK at all. But it feels a whole lot like the left has tried to silence him and throw obstacles and roadblocks in his way. And I'm like, I'm not going to vote for the guy, but it just seems like for the people who care so much about democracy, you sure are trying to limit our ability to vote for who we would like. You're trying to take Joe Biden's top political opponent and throw him in prison. And you're trying to take this other guy who may still, siphon off some votes from him and just completely silence and roadblock him. So we were at a festival not that long ago, and there were people who were there working, trying to get people to sign a petition so that RFK Jr. could be on the ballot. And I was like, I'll sign your petition. I'm not voting for the guy. I don't agree with him, but yeah. I think people should have the right to vote for who they want. I don't think that there should be roadblocks put in their way. So, but sadly, he will not make the debate stage.
I completely agree with you. And I think we've talked about this. Competition is healthy.
Yes.
Let the horses run. And we know which horse is going to win, I believe, if it's run fairly.
God help us.
That is Donald Trump.
God help us if not.
Let the horses run. But it's very interesting, though, and it may backfire. Again, the left doubles down and backfires. I can see how they go, don't put RFK and Trump on a stage against Biden, because Biden will get double whammy decimated, right? Even by RFK, which really can steal votes from Biden, away from Biden, and usher them over to Trump. Versus the other way. RFK is not taking votes from Trump, sending them to Biden, but he could significantly. So I can see that. But then you have this thing, well, if you remove RFK, you just give more time to Trump. Which is a benefit too, right, on stage. If Biden shows up, but does he show up to this thing? It's CNN. He's probably going to show up to CNN.
Right. Well, I mean, at what point can you dip out at this point? It's in a week. How do you, they're already preparing. I mean, I don't know how much longer he has to just be like, no, never mind. I
think it's going to go down. I'm excited, man. I'm more excited for this than I am for prize fights, and I watch most prize fights. I mean, I'm like, this could get really, really fun.
Well, yes, I don't disagree with you, but I want to throw in a couple more details here that even CNN political analysts are admitting that the decks are stacked in favor of Joe Biden with these rules. Okay. So with all of these rules that they have, they're going to mute microphones. There's no live audience. There's no opening statements. There's no use of pre-written notes, which I think actually would hurt Joe Biden. But all of these rules, even CNN is saying that's just going to benefit Joe Biden. Why would you agree for no live audience?
I don't know.
Why? Well, I mean, obviously you're in the tank for Joe Biden, but so it will be interesting to see how much of an edge Donald Trump can maintain, knowing that he is going into a debate where the deck is stacked against him.
Well, look, I mean, I remember the last debate between the two of them, and I was sitting there and I was like, it's literally that GIF, right, where it's like, you get your popcorn, you start eating, and I was really shocked. Because I thought he was such a disaster leading up to it. Biden, that is, just such a disaster. That surely he's going to come out and fumble, and he didn't. And like I say, I don't know what they gave him. I don't know what they, special thing they gave him to get him prepared and get him all hyped up, because he was, I mean, for him, he was on his game. I cannot see that this time. He's declined so much, so rapidly over the last 3 years. I think it's going to be a bloodbath. Now, I also think now that, again, they keep overplaying their hand.
Yeah.
They've gone after Trump with the indictments. Now they're giving all these rules. And like I said, I've said over and over, you know this, we're both immigrants here, is that Americans are fundamentally fair people. Like the loony left aren't. They're maniacs, right? They're like extreme. They're communists. Let's call it what it is. They're communists. Right. Even if they don't know they're communists, they are communists. They're useful idiots, right? But people don't like this. They want, like you said, you put two fighters together, let them go, let them punch it out, right? Let them figure it out who the best man is, right? And if Biden's the best man, Biden's the best man. If Trump is. I mean, at this point, I don't think it's going to sway anyone one way or the other, unless, like, he really does break down, which I think he probably will. I mean, he can't even string a sentence together right now, Biden. But Americans want to see two people go at it. And they're not going to have that. It's not. They've literally tied Trump's arm behind his back.
The tactics going into this is going to be fascinating. As they're ideating right now and they're working through, a couple of things I want to see is no earpiece to Biden, no one talking to him in his ear, because we've had that nonsense happen. He's going to have cards, but the approach that Trump is going to take is going to be fascinating. Do you go after Biden, speaking to him directly, almost ignoring the moderator and posting questions to Biden, which he won't answer, which is very bad because by default you get a blow? Do you play past him completely, as if he's not even in the room, as if you're in a different league and you're just decimating by answering succinctly? The approach is going to be interesting with muting a microphone, because if Trump in his time to speak turns and addresses Joe Biden, will they mute him?
I don't think they can.
They can't. So if you go after Joe and say, Joe, how are you going to close the border? Questions that they will not ask Biden. They won't. Softball is going to be, look like hardball. They're going to play such softball with Biden. So the questions we want Biden to answer, does Trump ask those questions of him directly? Right. Rhetorically?
I would.
Yeah, he's got to. And here's the other thing. And I said this when Trump very first came down that escalator, I was like, this guy is going to win. People do not really completely understand the power of fame. That's the first thing. But this guy is a master at improvisation.
And negotiation.
Absolutely brilliant at it.
Yeah.
He's brilliant. So you get him up there, and I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. No. But you get him debating. There's nobody better than him. Remember, because you'll be in jail, like those. He's like super smart, and he hasn't really lost that quickness at all. If you see,
well, he's done like a CNN town hall and stuff where he was very quick-witted.
He's very quick.
If anything, this man today is a very different man than 2016. This is a guy that has walked through hellfire. He's tempered. I mean, you may see a different Donald Trump next Thursday that's even bolder than he's ever been before.
I said
It's
this,
like, what you gonna bring? I mean, what do you have?
I mean, I said this yesterday, and it's funny because a lot of people are like, "Oh no," and I'm like, "No, you don't realize that he's very different, and he's going to be going into that Oval Office, please God, very differently."
Your lips to God's ears, please.
He is, and I think, like you said, I think that he's going to be absolutely brutal. He's got everything on his side. He's like I say, he's very quick. And in comparison to like Joe Biden, who keeps going through, the Control-Alt-Delete, like when he stops and you hear that, like, the Mac sound behind as he's rebooting, I think it's going to be a bloodbath. I really do.
But the rules are there to control the flow, right? So anything Trump's going to do to disrupt my card says this. That's not the question. What does Biden say all the time? Well, you're not playing by the rules. He just told the reporter, you're not playing by the rules. You're not asking the vetted questions. So throwing him off his game would have to be part of the tactic, because I think he'll just, he could potentially spin out of control.
Yeah. So just on this topic of the election, I found this really funny. I don't know why I found it so funny, but I was reading an article about Washington's Governor Jay Inslee, who apparently is one of like 5 different governors, Democrat governors, who are stockpiling the abortion pill in resistance to potential second Trump presidency. Wow. So they are so scared. They are so scared that Donald Trump is going to win the election that they are stockpiling the abortion pill that the Supreme Court just ruled that they can have. And Donald Trump, by the way, has never said that he wanted to make some sort of federal statute. In fact, the right hit him because he said, I think that the states should decide, which is, remember everyone, what we all said the Supreme Court got it right on. So I just want to be clear here. But apparently Inslee and these other 4 governors are so scared that Donald Trump is going to win that they are stockpiling, not emergency food, but abortion pills.
That's how
where we're at.
I don't know if do I say it? Oh, what the heck. That's how eager they are to commit murder. That's how eager they are to play into the cabal's, population control, and they would stockpile that versus food. Right? It speaks for itself. It's demonic. They want to see this country fall. Yeah, it's that simple.
Well, they're just morons, aren't they? I mean, it's ridiculous. I mean, they're not even looking, like you said, Trump very recently got hit, and we said on this very show, why are you going back on this? You had a massive win with Roe v. Wade. Why are you going back on it, right? He got hit by us. Everyone knew that Roe v. Wade, really, if they were going to be intellectually honest, even the greatest legal mind said it was a terrible law. It should never have happened. So all he did was give the rights back to the states. And all this like pearl clutching and fear mongering it just hasn't materialized. They've had 3 years of this. It hasn't materialized. If you want to go and have an abortion, you can still go and have an abortion, unfortunately. I mean, it's just the reality. Right. So again, what they do is they just say it, or they'll do something, and they'll keep saying it, and they'll keep doing it over and over and over and over and over again, and will it into existence. But the truth is like people are getting, I hope anyway, most normal people are getting clued up to this, and they're like, this is absurd.
Right. Yeah. Okay, let's take a break, and then when we come back, I want to talk about the latest expose that was just released by James O'Keefe. First, we want to thank our sponsor, Patriot Mobile. So, Patriot Mobile, I was just over at your office, and we were talking about Patriot Mobile and how great. I always say, so I left out Jenny the last time I said this. Glenn Story, I said, is one of my favorite people in the entire world. Jenny is, of course, just as wonderful, but just the most patriotic, amazing, truth-seeking, honest people that I have ever come across. And Glenn is like one of the goofiest people ever. So I just love to be around them. And they are just so central to what we are doing, fighting back against all of these left-leaning causes that we talk about on this program every single day. What they have done of course, is started Patriot Mobile, which is America's only Christian conservative wireless provider. And so when you have a cell phone company, when you have a cell phone and you're paying your bill, you're actually, if you're with Big Mobile, you're funding the left. What they do is they take a portion of your bill and they're at the border with Jaco Booyens, fighting sex trafficking.
Yes.
They are helping feed the Texas National Guard. That's the only ones at the border that are
literally
doing anything.
Going in a month and a half, 2 months, and feeding 2,500 beautiful brisket meals to our Texas servicemen that stand against Joe Biden.
I mean, Patriot Mobile is sponsoring all sorts of conservative causes across the nation because they believe in exactly what you guys believe in. So check them out. Okay, you're going to get the same national coverage that you get currently. They've got all 3 major networks to pick from, so you are going to get the same service. You can keep your phone, you can keep your phone number, or you can do something completely different. But odds are you're probably going to save money as well. So there's no reason not to go check them out. You can go to patriotmobile.com/Sarah. Get free activation when you use the offer code Sarah. That is patriotmobile.com/Sarah. Earlier today, James O'Keefe with OMG, of course, former Project Veritas, released this is a 20-minute long video. So obviously we can't play the whole thing here, but he spoke with a senior vice president at the Walt Disney Company who was like, yeah, we're basically like, we're not hiring any white males for these jobs. Here's just a little snippet of that. Watch.
Certainly, there have been times where, there's no way we're hiring a white male person.
Just kind of unspoken.
There are times when it's spoken, but
How would they say it?
there's no way we're hiring a white male person. They say
Like straight to you? Or okay.
They'd be very careful how they message that to agents.
So I want to read the tweet here. That this is all that they go over in this video that I encourage you guys to go to James O'Keefe's Twitter and go check out. So he says, nobody else is going to tell you this, but they're not considering any white males for the job. There's no way we're hiring a white male. He says that Disney uses code words and buzzwords to avoid legal action, and even mentions a candidate being rejected for not looking black enough, which is racist. I just want to be clear. Saying someone doesn't look black enough is really racist. Giordano also admits Disney gives bonuses to executives for practicing diversity, equity, and inclusion, agreeing that diversity helps with financial incentives. He says that he has been denied promotions due to his race. Oh, yeah. And also there's a part 2 that's coming out. So he's not done, James O'Keefe. But I mean, look, are either of you at the table surprised?
We're just
to hear this?
sitting there going,
Yeah.
I mean,
Are
we're
you
in this
surprised?
industry.
It's
Come
like-
on.
The mouse's house is going down, and it's on their own hands. And look, they picked their poison, and they're going on the side of evil and indoctrinating children. And there is a consequence for that. God will not be mocked. And so, yeah, and we said it this morning. It started with a big, beautiful left hook from Ron DeSantis that said, sorry, Disney, the times are changing. It's not the same, and so, yeah, not surprised.
The sad part of this is Walt must just be spinning in his grave, right? Like this is not what he built.
No.
This is not what he was trying to do for America. And to see them just totally bastardize his vision is just so sad because, I mean, you're right. I'm like, I want them, I don't even know that I want them to go under. I would like it if they would just learn their lesson and flip back. I just don't think that they will, which means instead of that, I'd like for them to go under. And when I think that, it makes me sad because I'm like, that makes me sad because this isn't what Walt wanted, but it is what it is at this point.
Someone's going to buy it eventually.
Yes, that's what needs to happen.
yeah.
It needs to, look, God is the God of redemption. Sorry, Matthew, rudely, but he's the God of redemption. It has to be redeemed by a different group. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is something that certainly we know about. I mean, I've had it happen to me. Obviously, I got cancelled years ago.
What?
Yeah. No, but so here's the thing for the audience needs to know. The number one box office draw across the world is white male actors. It just is. You get the odd black actor that comes through, like Denzel and Will Smith, that are massive. But across the board, it's white male actors. So what you have to understand is when you take them off the playing field, then immediately you get a hit with the amount of revenue you're going to get in for your movies. Now, not only if you are a white male, it's what's really frustrating, and Jaco can talk to this as well. What's really frustrating for me is that if you're a conservative white male actor, like, forget it, it's all over. Like, this started back after just around Obama, when Obama came in, around 2008, 2009. So what the left does is it will take you off the field. It takes conservative white male actors off the field. It happened to me. Right, and then what people will do is like, well, what have you done over the past 10 years? You know, it's because blah, blah. But what you're seeing now is it's happening to the liberal male white actors, right? Yeah. And even gay liberal male white actors, right? And it's happening across the board. And so what you are seeing is, and by the way, even if you go back 10 years ago, people actually work their way up through the system. Whether or not you agree with Hollywood, they did. They worked their way up through the system. And what has happened now, and we've mentioned it before, is that people are getting promoted because of their immutable characteristics, and they're being set up to fail. They're being set up to fail. So whatever you think about Disney, whatever people think about Disney, you have to understand that their productions, certainly the animated productions, are 5 years down the line, right? Yes. 5 years.
Yes.
And that is hundreds of millions of dollars to rectify that. They're not going to rectify it. So you're looking at least another 5 years, at least minimum. And we've seen with like the Acolyte that's just come out, it's just woke bullshit. You know, for those of you that don't know about it, they have witches. These two witches came together to give birth to a child. It's agenda. And by the way, crap as well. It's just
you're
bad.
saying that you don't want to see a Star Wars movie about lesbian witches?
I mean,
I just want to be clear.
That's exactly what he's saying. Double
Really?
down. Yeah.
What?
I'll say
Don't
this.
say.
Yeah. I'll say this. You're absolutely right. You know, it took Cameron 10 years to get Avatar made. I sat in the room at the third floor. We were there. It takes forever, especially animated productions. It's not just turn the ship unless you've got leadership that come in and say, let it burn. Let those production, because you lose the capital because it's invested. It's there. It's not on the screen yet, but there is 50% of that budget is gone. 150, 200 million is already spent, right? So let's turn this ship for real. That's going to take some spine. It's going to take some real men and women of moral character. But what this truly is, and why it's now cutting, even a white LBGT actor as a male actor, you don't have a role. One, it's the affirmative action movement, but it's because they worship the god of Ishtar. It is a spiritual battle, and they've doubled down their chips on this antichrist movement and a god they worship that even themselves, they can't course correct if they wanted to. Because the second anybody in leadership there has a moral moment of clarity to go, maybe this is a little too far, cut off, you're out, replace.
You're out the gang.
Because the machine, the system is actually spiritual and it's going into destruction. So you would have to see it acquired with a complete clean slate of come in here, acquire the assets of old. Let's go back to the original Rapunzel and the original things, and then redeem it going forward, because they cannot fix this if they want to themselves.
And you know what they're going to have to do as well, Sarah, because, again, I'll keep going over this over and over again. When you make a movie, it is forever. It is out there forever.
Correct.
And they don't care about that because they don't care about now. Right? They are hoping that at some point, your kid is going to be clicking through and they're going to find it at some point, whether it's now, whether it's in 10 years' time. So whoever's going to come in and buy it, and they will, and maybe it'll be someone like Elon, I don't know, but they need to buy Disney. They are going to have to destroy all of this stuff. It's going to have to be destroyed.
You got to pull titles. You got to remove them. Pull titles. You have to go and do a proper moral audit, and and just clean house. You have to. And let what is fundamentally sound remain, and then build from there. You know, I got really close with a guy that was, there's only 4 Disney legends. 4 guys have been inducted as Disney legends. And one of them is a guy who I got close to. And he walked away from Disney when Roy took over. And he built all 14 Disney parks. This guy built all the parks. This guy went and took Beauty and the Beast to New York City and cleaned up, because Broadway was brothel district. It was brothels. He cleaned up the brothel district and took Beauty and the Beast to Broadway, okay? Ron Logan is his name. And Ron has passed since, an amazing man of God. He left Disney in one meeting on a Friday morning. He stood up and 13 guys left. And he said, this company, and this is 20 years ago, this company is heading in a moral direction that I cannot, this is not Walt.
Wow.
And he started with Walt. He said, this is not Walt. I'm out. Right? And this is firsthand. And he said, watch, this thing is going to crumble. And then, of course, the Roy went sideways and Cats, the whole deal. I mean, so, no, someone's got to come in. I don't know that it's Elon, but somebody somewhere. And you're probably going to be able to buy it on a fire sale on the cheap.
What is Steven, you would know this. What's the Splash Mountain? That's the ride.
Oh, yeah.
What did they turn it into? It's like Princess.
It's the New Orleans.
The Princess and the
Tiana.
Frog or something?
Yeah.
Princess Tiana.
Yeah.
Is that the Princess and the Frog?
Yes. Well, not really, but it's sort of the same.
Well, but my point is, you're seeing the flip side of what you're talking about in a sense, because you've got these rides that were just, iconic.
Yeah.
And they're replacing them all in the name of wokeness. And now, from what I'm reading, the reviews are like, the ride is just terrible. It makes no sense. There's no storyline. It's just like, oh no. People say this is racist. We have to change it. Let's throw the princess that has darker skin in there.
And then you can make her look like a princess.
Right. But there's no overall point. Like, the ride had a story. Splash Mountain had a story. As you're riding the ride, it has a story. And now they just threw a bunch of crap together so that they wouldn't be called racist anymore. Was it racist? I assume that it was racist. And so now they've ruined the ride. Mm-hmm. So you can't get that back. So how much more are they going to take from us?
Well, there's parks. They're talking about closing parks around the world. Look, at some point you can't bleed. I don't care who you are. You can't bleed billions and survive. There's no company in the world.
Because it's not just the movies. It's also the parks where people are not going to them anymore. It's all of it.
Yeah.
But because not only are they indoctrinating children where parents are like, we're not doing this. They're also they were already raising their prices to just price out middle America.
But remember,
I couldn't go.
Your kids, you can't go. It's $5,000.
It's like a big
more than that.
family.
$5,000.
Yeah, no, a big family. You're out of it. But look, there's an overarching theme here of destroying Western civilization, right? Because when I was growing up, Disney was the vacation. If you went to Disney,
epic.
You'd made it. I mean, this growing up in South Africa, you're like, oh, it's Disney, it's great. And you go there. And listen, when I went there, it was really emotional for me because it meant that I'd come from nothing. And I was there, I was in Disney, and it's magical. And now it's horrible. But in addition to what you were saying there about the Tiana thing, it drives me bonkers. And this is a little bit of a segue, how they talk about getting a black bond, right? It's so lazy. Mm-hmm. Do a ride for Tiana.
Right.
Make her own.
Right.
Yes.
Build
the character.
Right.
Build the character.
Go through the work.
Yes.
Go and do a franchise for a
Build the
black character.
Yes.
Do it for them. Create, because you know what? Again, it's setting people up for failure, because all you got to do is ask any Bond. They're all compared to Sean Connery, and they're all white guys, right? Mm-hmm. They're all white guys. So why don't you go out and create? They don't have a creative thought in their brain
Matthew,
anymore.
for the same token, I don't want Equalizer 5 to be a white guy.
Yeah.
It's got to be Denzel.
Right.
And if it's not Denzel, then bring me the next Jordan B or somebody. But don't go make the Equalizer dude a white guy now. We're not hypocritical here either.
Yeah.
I mean, let it be. Do the work, do the effort, build it from the ground up. But they don't. Because, one, they've lost all imagination. Hollywood can't crank out a single script that's worth anything. Mm-hmm. Okay, they've dried up. Mm-hmm. If we see Spider-Man 14 or whatever is coming, I mean, good night. I mean, they're dried up. They have no imagination left. They're shriveling up like a raisin, and that's where they belong.
Oh.
I mean, they belong shriveled up, and someone buy them on the cheap.
That happened. I'm just saying. Matt Marsden left and everything fell apart.
I'm just saying.
Saying.
Not saying I'm
Is that what it is?
all of Hollywood, but I'm just saying.
I'm just saying. All right. Okay, we've got more to come. First, we want to thank our sponsor, this segment, which is Angel Studios. So I want to tell you about this powerful true story of Bishop and First Lady Donna Martin and their tiny Bennett Chapel Church in the town of Possum Trot in the woods of East Texas. 22 families from a rural, say that 3 times fast, Black church linked arms and courageously adopted 77 of the most difficult to place children in the local foster care system. And the first 76 kids were adopted between 1998 to 2000. And this East Texas community proved that with real determined love, the battle for America's most vulnerable can be won, as this act ignited a national movement for vulnerable children that still continues today. And of course, the first step to ending the crisis is to raise awareness. So I encourage you to go get your tickets to see Sound of Hope, the story of Possum Trot today at angel.com/Sarah. That is angel.com/Sarah. So Just Stop Oil protesters sprayed orange powder paint on Stonehenge on Wednesday. And according to their website, the pigment was made, they said, don't worry, the pigment is made of an orange cornflour that's going to wash away in the rain. So don't worry about it. And I want to play for you guys. This is the actual act. And then the person who decided that this would be a good idea to do in the first place. Let's play those side by side. Watch.
My name's Neve. I'm 21 and I'm a student at the University of Oxford. Today, I'm taking action with Just Stop Oil to demand that the UK government commits to signing the Fossil Fuel Non-Proliferation Treaty and promises to stop burning fossil fuels by 2030. To refuse to do so is to warrant death, destruction and suffering on an absolutely immense and immeasurable scale. Today, we'll be taking action at Stonehenge the day before the solstice. For thousands of years, people have come to Stonehenge on the solstice to celebrate our natural world, to celebrate the beauty of our natural world. But I can't help thinking, what does it look like today and what the heck have we done to it? These stones have stood here for 5,000 years. What will the world look like in 5,000 years' time? What will our legacy be? It's becoming ever more clear that we end the fossil fuel era, or the fossil fuel era ends us.
Well, I can tell you that your legacy will be, ma'am or sir, I'm not quite sure, that everyone will hate your movement because you're so insufferable. You're pushing people away from your cause. You know, I read, I want to read this Stonehenge tweet in a second, but I read this awesome conspiracy theory that I totally am bought into, that this this climate change movement, the climate activists, are actually a psyop that was put on by big oil to get people to hate the climate change activists because everything they do is so dumb. It's like even someone who might think, yeah, we should care about the environment, they see this and they're like, oh, screw these people. No, I don't agree with you guys. So because, you know, they're like, oh, don't worry, it was just orange cornflour. It just washes away in the rain. Don't worry. Well, actually, the Stonehenge Twitter account tweeted out, Stonehenge is protected by the Ancient Monuments Act, and it is a criminal offense to damage the stones. There are also multiple rare lichen species growing on the stones that are also protected. Expect a prison sentence.
Good.
Yes, long one.
Play stupid games, win stupid prizes.
Long one.
Yeah.
You know, let's deface something. Let's cause destruction under the auspice of doing good. Let's burn America down and say it's peaceful.
Do you know who does that?
Yeah,
the Taliban. The Taliban did that. The Taliban go after historical monuments and deface them and destroy them. Yeah. 10 years minimum, and that...
I genuinely, I mean...
I love this guy.
I'm not saying that this person's explanation was good, but I did, whenever I watched it immediately, I'm like, what the hell did the rocks do to you? Like,
why the rocks?
Why? How do they hurt you?
What does the solstice have to do? I mean, oh my gosh. No, look, when it's wrong, it goes wrong just just all the way wrong. It's just, and it's sad. I look at that person speaking, because that's what I do for a living, is we profile and look at where there's hurt, and there's such confusion and such complete programming going on in that individual that it's a completely indoctrinated human being that is not capable of making any logical sense whatsoever. And some members in society celebrate that. And I'm with you. It's not just Oxford. I mean, our biggest institutions in this country were founded on biblical principles. You talk about Harvard? Look what that place has become. I mean, this is, complete indoctrination camps. It's madness. And sometimes it's good to let madness play out and you see it's madness. But I kind of like the PSYOP idea, because that would be very smart.
I want it to be so. I want it to be true.
That would be very smart.
I want it to be so true. Yeah. And so to that point, it would be like Israel would be like PSYOPing all of these Gaza protesters that are sitting in the middle of the highway, blocking people. It's like, that would be really smart, actually, because everyone would be like, I wasn't sure, I was on the fence, but I know I'm not with those people, and now I'm on Israel's side. Like, anyone who is, trying to cause awareness for a movement could just be like, let's just make the other side look really bad.
Every single time that I see him, I post a picture of my truck. And I say I'm going for a spin, and I'm just going for a drive.
They're the worst.
I hate that. I mean,
they're the worst.
Because they go for beauty. Here's the other thing. I might not believe in it, but that is a holy site to Druids.
Yeah.
Genuinely, it is.
100%.
Yeah.
And so what they're doing is they're desecrating a holy site as well.
Right. I hope, because think about how dumb this is. You did it. It's a huge crime. And then you went on TikTok or whatever and admitted that you were the one who did it.
Completely.
You're showing your face.
Yeah, completely.
Like, they're not going to have trouble finding this person.
No, but the other thing.
Hogwarts first. They're going to arrest Harry Potter.
No, not Harry.
Sarah.
Oh, no.
That whole freaking thing is demonic.
Oh, no.
I was about to say
Don't take Harry Potter from me.
We're about to get the full British Empire here through Matthew, the original. But here's what I would say. When you sit and you plan this as this person, when do you think that this ever worked? Gluing your hand to the Mona Lisa, or when has it resulted in a positive outcome for your mini movement? It hasn't ever anywhere. Paint on paintings and completely destroying ancient art.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, this is not 10 years. That's too easy. No, you got to make an example. No, it's time for consequence.
Off with their head. Just kidding.
But not really.
Where am I?
Not really.
20 to 25.
I'll let you decide.
No
okay, all right. We've got to take a quick break. We'll be back with more. But I want to remind you guys, if you have not yet checked out my latest Blaze Originals documentary, go check it out. It's available over at BlazeTV. If you have a subscription already, you should go check it out. It's called Voter Fraud Exposed: How Elections Can Be Stolen. If you do not have a subscription yet, I'm just telling you this is information that you're going to want to know, considering this is actually the most important election of our lifetime. They used to say that all those times ago. It's actually this one. And you need to learn what the left is doing, in some cases legally, to try to rig the game in their favor. So if you don't yet have a subscription, you can go to blazeoriginals.com/Sarah. Get $30 off with the code VOTERFRAUD. I don't think we've ever had a promo code that has given, this is the most, it's the highest amount off that you could possibly get. So if you've been waiting, now's the time. blazeoriginals.com/Sarah, promo code VOTERFRAUD. We'll be right back. You guys ever watch the show New Amsterdam?
I didn't know it. Maybe an episode.
Apparently it's a very popular.
It is very popular, but I don't have time. We're busy doing stuff. But I think I've watched one episode.
Okay, well, I want to play a clip from the show New Amsterdam, Season 2, Episode 14th, where a doctor, who clearly is highly intelligent, discovers the root cause of his patient's tumors. Watch.
Make yourself comfortable. There's a couch over there.
Is he okay?
Yeah, he's okay. I had Cephas answer some questions from a Harvard test known as unrest. It is designed to measure someone's level of social resistance.
Social resistance.
When people like us oppose the values and policies of the dominant culture.
That's right.
And what does that have to do
Your
with
son, he feels threatened on a daily basis. Like everything he's earned can just be taken away. He's disenfranchised. But because his life is seemingly free from all this, because he can't name it, he's internalizing it.
Name what?
Racism. I think your son's tumor was caused by racism.
I thought you were going to say constipation. I don't know. It was just...
What did I tell you, Hollywood? The writing is gone. It's toilet paper, dude. It's complete trash.
I think your son's tumor is caused by racism. Who's not laughing at that? How do you watch that and go, oh my God, the doctor is so right. I'm so glad we have Dr. Frome to tell us about the tumors being caused by racism.
So here's again, this is the process, right? Someone goes in and they pitch an episode, right? You got to remember this. So you got to remember how many levels.
Many
of
writers,
idiots.
multiple direct producers.
Up and so you go and you pitch the episode, right? You go, I'm going to put this in, and then it goes up to the next level. They say, okay, you go write that. They write the script. Then it goes to the next level. They go through, they look at all the script, and they take out things that they think are not relevant or they are stupid, right? And then it goes to next level. Then everyone sits around and they all have what's called a table read, tone read, right? And they all go through it and they go, oh, that's so brilliant, genius, right? Now, so think about all the different levels it has to go through, right? Also think about this, and I'm going to share something that I haven't shared before about 4 months ago, I got sent a screenplay. They were like, hey, listen, are you okay with nudity? And are you okay with gay sex? And I was like, no and no. Done.
Yeah.
So I don't do it, right?
Wait, like, are you okay with having gay sex?
Yeah, like on screen.
His character.
The character, are you okay with doing it? Before that, I got sent another show, which is going to come, by the way, they're both going to come out. So not that anyone that watches this is going to see it. It was it's a cop. And I'm like, great, I get to play a cop. This is great. I'm looking through. He's a tough cop. He's got a family, blah, blah, blah. And I'm not going to say what he does in it because it was so unbelievable. Let's say he does something to himself while he's watching Prisoners. Let's just put it like that.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Ew.
and I'm like,
Not playing it.
I'm not doing it. So how many of these scripts come and you have to go, oh, I can't do that. Oh, I can't do that. Oh, I can't do that.
99%.
It literally is nearly every single script that you get, right? It's nearly every single script. So not only do you have to have the powers that be that filter it, so you're out anyway, like you filtered out. And by the way, they will tell you to take a cross off.
What's that?
A cross.
Oh, yeah.
Take your
They'll
cross
tell
off
you
your
to
neck.
take your cross off.
Even in an audition.
They will tell you to do that.
No.
Yeah.
Oh,
Even
yeah.
in the audition.
Oh,
Even
yeah.
in the audition.
So, you know, you're not going to be wearing that. Please take that off. And you go up through the whole system, right? So if you're an actor, number one, you read the script, you go, okay, I'm going to do it, right? So that's the first thing. Then you got to go and you got to audition. Mm-hmm. Then you got to do these things in front of the producers and the directors, and then they give you the go-ahead. Then you go up, and guess what, guys? I keep telling you, it's forever. It's forever. It's out there forever.
Mm-hmm. And that doesn't even account for many actors we consult and work with that gets the part, especially Nickelodeon. Very, very, very famous for doing this. Gets the part, gets the kid, and then last minute rewrite.
Yeah.
Last minute rewrite. And I'm talking about children, right? I mean, friends of ours, 2 twins. Last minute rewrite, and all of a sudden, one is gay. And they go, whoa, we didn't sign up for this. You took the part, you took the role, and all of a sudden now you're bailing on a job that you took, and then they blacklist you. Yeah. Oh, you're terrible to work with. You walked off set. The horrible parent. They are famous for doing this, particularly Nickelodeon.
And by the way, so let me just tell you this. If you get a casting director, which they're all, I'd say 98% are on their team, mm-hmm. They'll send you stuff. And I know that they've done this, and they'll go, why won't you do it? Mm-hmm. Why? Why won't you do it?
Oh, yeah. They coerce.
Oh.
Yeah.
Because what they want to do, and this was actually like, now they're just completely open about it, but like 10, 15 years ago, it'd be trying to out you as a conservative.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Why won't you do that? Why won't you play that role? What's the
Right.
problem?
What's the problem?
What issue do you have with that kind of character? And you go, well, either you just go, well, I just don't want to do it, right? But very few people say that.
Right.
So there's all different kinds of censorship that's going on and bullying.
It's a gotcha moment to ostracize you, or it's a moment to compromise you. And they know once they compromise you subtly, then it's done. You can never come back and say, no, I have a moral conviction, which is why I always tell actors, if you do it once, you can't come back and then go, well, no. My moral conviction doesn't allow me to do it, because they'll say, but you did this.
Yeah. And also the agents as well. The agents will ask you why. Why aren't you doing that? Why? And then it just becomes a thing.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you stop getting the phone calls.
Interesting. Okay. All right. We got one more thing we want to show you after the break. So, of course, the special prosecutor, Nathan Wade, over from Fulton County, he's like making the circuits. I don't know why. It's gone horribly for him. But here is Nathan Wade with Marlon Wayans on The Daily Show. Watch.
So let me ask you, when old girl was like, hey, babe, you want to be in charge of this prosecution of the president of the United States who did this insurrection? Did you think like, this could get messy? Or you was like, nah, I'll be all right.
We did not have that type of relationship
Right.
at the outset, and we were interviewing other people for the position.
What position was it?
It was only the position of
Which
special
position?
prosecutor.
Did that position look like this? Or did that position look like this?
Why?
So no.
Why would you be like, it's a good idea? I'm going to go on The Daily Show and answer questions.
Right.
Who's advising him?
After the disaster the other day with CNN,
CNN?
they had to basically walk off a live set and just leave the host.
Did you see this?
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Right.
It's so bad. So after that debacle, he's like,
Let's put him out there again.
you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go on The Daily Show with Marlon Wayans. What could possibly go wrong? Wow.
Good. Oh my God.
No, but it's great that he did it, actually, because I'm sure he didn't think that he would go there.
No.
Well, that's fair. I mean, it's The Daily Show. What are they going to do? What else? What?
They're
Come
gonna
on.
do that.
That's low-hanging fruit at this point. Please.
that's-
And by the way, it's not lost on me. He did have to read it all from a card.
Yes.